welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be pregnancy related. So if you're not into these like baby pregnancy videos, I would totally understand if you skipped right past it. But in this video, I'm going to be updating you on my pregnancy because I don't think I've done an update since revealing the baby's gender in the last episode. And if you haven't watched it yet, we are having a boy. We've been just so happy that we can call him him now and not it, or you know, baby. He is a he now, and we're just so excited for this little boy. I think in the last video I mentioned wanting to do more weekly pregnancy updates because I have been binging these types of videos. Obviously, when you're going through something like this in your life, you try to watch everything that's related to this topic. So like when I was getting married, I was watching wedding videos, getting married, skincare for, you know, your wedding day, all that stuff. So now that we're pregnant, I have been watching like everyone's weekly updates, which I think are so fun and so helpful to watch. So I love watching these types of videos. When I found out I was pregnant, I think we were 6 or 7 weeks when I found out. In my head, my goal was to do a weekly update from 6 weeks, but with coronavirus, with working from home, with just the craziness that is pregnancy and life, it just never happened. So I figured it would be better late than never, and just for my own personal memories to go back and watch these videos, I would start updating you now that I am officially halfway pregnant. I'm actually 21 weeks. At this point, I'll be 22 weeks in a few days. But right now I'm 21 weeks, so I have gone through the first half of pregnancy already, so I can at least share that experience with you guys. I've actually experienced a few symptoms that not many people talk about, because when I experienced it, I freaked out because I've never heard of it. I've never heard anyone talk about it. I've never read it in my pregnancy books. Like, it was kind of scary because it hit me like, am I the only and first pregnant woman to get these reactions and these symptoms? So I do want to share those experiences with you guys in case you were going through the same thing. Just know that you are not alone and it is normal. So I did write down the things that I wanted to talk about in this video. So again, we found out we were pregnant when I was 6 weeks pregnant. I'm pretty sure it was 6. It could be 7. So we've known for a while now. That's actually really early to find out, and I'm just grateful that I found out that early because I was going crazy during my 2-week waiting period. I found out 8 days after I ovulated, which is pretty early. They recommend you not testing until you're at least 12 to 14 days past ovulation. So I was like a few days impatient and decided to test. I'm going to do a whole separate video about how I got pregnant. Not how I got pregnant, I think we all know how to get pregnant, but what I did to help my body get pregnant, and also talk about when I found out and how I found out. I'll do that in a separate video because it would just be too long in this video. I wanted to keep this mainly more of a first half of pregnancy update. Again, I found out really early on, and the first few weeks were amazing. We were just on cloud 9. I was feeling great, didn't feel anything different. He's kicking right now. I didn't feel any different. No symptoms yet, because again, it's just so early. Your hormones haven't even like registered to kicked in yet fully, so you just feel great. You're just carrying this tiny little poppy seed around and nothing is really different, which was amazing. And I think around the 9 to 13, maybe 14 week mark was when nausea set in. And I've never thrown up from morning sickness or anything, thank goodness. I know a lot of people suffer from like really bad, intense morning sickness, and that's just so terrible because you're just so happy for this little baby, and then you're just feeling like crap all day, because it's not just in the morning that you're nauseous. Don't know why they call it morning sickness, kind of annoying. You just feel like crap all day long. And so for like a few weeks, I think 5 weeks total, I got bad morning sickness. Some days were kind of tolerable, just like I don't feel like eating, I'm nauseous, I don't want anything but water right now. But then other days it'll hit me like a truck and I just feel kind of dizzy, kind of sweaty, like I couldn't move, I couldn't get off the couch, I just couldn't eat anything. And I think once I realized my prenatals during the day is what started setting off the nausea for the rest of the day. I've been taking prenatals for at least 2 years now. So I've been taking them for at least 1.5 years before we even started trying, because you want to get the folic acid and all the vitamins that you need to carry the pregnancy. You want that in your system even before you are pregnant with the baby. So for me, I've been taking them for about 1.5 years before we even started trying. So my routine was just to take my prenatals in the morning. And that's what I did when I found out I was pregnant, especially during the first 3 weeks when nausea didn't hit me yet. That was my routine. But then once nausea hit, I realized my prenatals was what sets off the nausea. So I started taking them at night. So I would highly recommend that if you think your prenatals are what's causing the nausea, take them at night before you go to bed, because at least you can sleep through the nausea and the side effects from the prenatals, because they're not great. They don't taste great. At least mine don't. I don't even remember what they're called. It's like all natural organic brand prenatals, and they don't taste terrible, but they don't taste great either. Like, they're not the yummy gummies that some prenatals are available as. But anywho, I'll talk about what I take and all that stuff in another video. So once I realized I can take them at night and sleep through the side effects and the nausea, that's what I did, and that helped a ton. Don't know why it took my brain so long to like connect the dots and make the adjustments. So my nausea went up to like week, I want to say 14 or 15. But it just started fading. Once I hit the second trimester, the nausea went away. And nausea was the only symptom I had in the first trimester. I never got any kind of weird aches or cramps or dizziness, except when it's associated with the nausea. I didn't get any of like the regular, like the boob pains, like because your boobs are growing so much. Listen, okay, I am part of the itty bitty titty committee, so when my boobs grew, it was just like having boobs, period. Like, they were never engorged and gigantic and heavy and achy and sensitive to the touch. No, like, I just had regular human boobs when my boobs came in. And even to this point, my boobs never hurt me. My nipples were never sensitive. And I read it in books too, like some people can't even wear a t-shirt or a thin bra without it hurting their boobs, which is terrible, but I fortunately never had that issue. My boobs came in and I just felt happier about that. Second trimester, I'm still in my second trimester right now, but the first half of it, I don't think I got any weird symptoms that other people were experiencing. A lot of people said that, again, their boobs hurt really bad, nipples were sensitive, they had like round ligament pain, like lower stomach pains because of the stretching. I never really got that, and I felt like I popped pretty early, so I don't know why it wasn't painful, but I'm glad and thankful that it wasn't. So that was the first trimester and like beginning of the second trimester. Again, I am 21 weeks right now, and I feel like weeks 16 to 20 was when like real symptoms kicked in, and I wrote a lot of it down. We would go on walks on the boardwalk and on the beach around our house, and I remember like just walking, but my left arm would go completely numb. Like, even just walking normal with my like arms swinging to the side, like, you know, you walk normally, my left hand would go completely numb. Like, it would start tingling on my fingers and it would go numb, and I would end up having to like walk like this. Like, my right arm was just dangling, but my left arm was like always up like this to get like the circulation moving or something, and it would do that every time I went for a walk. And I noticed my limbs getting number a lot quicker. Like, if I'm sitting at the dining room table, because we're working from home now, my legs go numb a lot quicker, I guess you could say. So that was kind of weird. I didn't really read anything about it. I asked my doctor and she said it was fine unless it was like really causing me pain, or like the numbness wouldn't go away after a minute or two, then we should be concerned. But I just found that really odd that it was just my like left arm or left hand going numb when I was walking. It wasn't like I was constricting them or they were fixed in a certain position. Like, I was swinging, I was talking, I was making hand movements, and it was just weird. Around 16 to 20 weeks, I finally started feeling the round ligament pain, especially now when I get up. If I get up too fast, it's like a sharp shooting pain down my lower belly because your stomach is just stretched and your muscles are stretched. So it takes like the breath out of me for a second, but you know, it's not like a lasting pain, it's just uncomfortable. Another side effect is I'm out of breath a lot. You can probably tell from this video, but just like any kind of small movement, whether it's getting up from the couch, pouring a glass of water, if I'm holding something heavy, obviously I'm just out of breath really fast. And it takes me like 30 seconds to kind of catch my breath and get back to normal. But it's so funny how all these symptoms that everyone talks about like hits me all of a sudden, because people have been feeling all these symptoms or getting all these symptoms like during the first trimester, and now it's like finally hitting me in these last 4 weeks, and it's just like, damn. Speaking of numbness, my legs are going numb from sitting here. I filmed 2 videos before this one, so I'm just like, my body's over it. The baby's like, no woman, go lay down somewhere. I put down that I'm not sleeping well. It's not like I'm getting bad sleep, but I wake up a lot more, and it's not because I have to pee, which funny enough, like this past week, I have been getting up at least once a night to go pee. But before that, I would just wake up because, I don't know, it wasn't like insomnia. I fell asleep fine at a normal hour. It was just once I fell asleep, I couldn't stay asleep for like the 8-hour stretch. I would wake up at least like 5, 6, 7 times a night to like flip and flop to get comfortable. Sometimes I would stay like awake for an hour or 2 before I can fall back asleep, which is really weird. Like I've never had that problem before. And it's not because I'm uncomfortable when I'm sleeping, especially like the early parts of my second trimester. I wasn't uncomfortable laying there sleeping or anything. Like my stomach wasn't big enough to like cause any discomfort like it is now, but it was just weird that I would wake up and it just took me a long time to fall back asleep. So that was a weird kind of like side effect that I was having. Sleeping on my sides. Oh my gosh, I'm so out of breath. Sleeping on my sides lately has become a little bit uncomfortable in the past, I would say week or 2, maybe 2.5 weeks. You have to sleep on your side now that you're in your second trimester, they recommend. Sleeping on your back, you risk your uterus pressing onto your major blood flow, like your vena cava, and that could restrict, you know, blood flow, obviously, and circulation to not only yourself, but to the baby. So they don't recommend sleeping on your back, and especially as you get bigger, it's just impossible to sleep on your back with the weight of your belly like crushing you. So they recommend sleeping on your right, but most especially your left side, because that has the best blood flow to the baby. So I've been sleeping on my sides, which was okay in the beginning when I started to sleep only on my sides, but now it's like, I don't know if it's causing like pressure points on my body that it's just really painful now. Like my shoulders hurt really bad. When I wake up in the middle of the night, my hip bone, like my hip area hurts really bad. So I have to flip to the other side, but then that side starts hurting. So it's like really hard to find a good sweet spot. And sometimes I miss sleeping on my back. So like when I wake up on my back by accident, I'm just like, oh, why did I wake up? It felt so good. So I bought a pregnancy pillow. I bought like the PUPPP, it's like a bean shaped pillow. And that's been helping like relieving some kind of pressure off the hip area, but my shoulders and my arms still really hurt. Because if you think about it, sleeping on your sides for like 4 hours, it's a lot of pressure on your one side, and that side goes numb, your shoulders start hurting. It's just not the most comfortable, but you know, it's what's best for the baby and I, so that's what we're doing. That's what you got to deal with. Okay, so the real symptoms that has hit me hard in the past 2 weeks, especially, itchy stomach and rash. So about 2 weeks ago, I had the most insane itchy rash on my stomach, around my groin area. It's a little TMI, but that's pregnancy for ya. Under my arms, and like on the back of my neck, which wasn't so bad, but it was like itchy and irritating. So at first it just started out like as insane, uncomfortable, painful itching on my stomach and my underarms. And I really just thought it just related to, you know, my skin expanding because of pregnancy. Like my boobs were obviously bigger, so I thought that was just my boobs getting bigger and stretching the skin, and that's why it caused the itchiness. And the same thing goes for my butt and my stomach. Like it was just really, really itchy. So I just figured, you know, it's fine, it's pregnancy and it's normal. So I would just lather a lot more of the belly oil and belly butter that I'm using. I just apply a little bit more after my shower to make sure that it's hydrated, my skin isn't dry and it isn't cracking. But then like little bumps started to appear on my stomach, and I know this is like really gross because I don't like hearing about this stuff either, but I feel like I didn't hear anything related to this in all of the pregnancy research that I did, like the books I've read, the videos I've watched, again, the weekly updates. No one has ever mentioned getting a rash or like severely itchy skin. So I do want to talk about it kind of in detail, because if you're going through it, at least you know that it's pregnancy related and that you're not, you know, going through some terrible thing in the middle of your pregnancy, which is really scary. So little bumps started forming, my underarm started to get like a rash. I have never gotten a rash in my life. I've never gotten such a bad allergic or skin reaction to something where it causes an actual rash. So this was kind of alarming to me, and it was worse on my right underarm. Like it would be from my armpit down to the side of my boobs. It itches and then you itch it, but it hurts because it's a rash, and it's just like this vicious cycle of uncomfortable, painful, itchy, rashy skin. So yeah, and it started spreading, which was alarming, definitely, because I didn't do anything different in my routine. I didn't use any different kind of soap, any different kind of moisturizer. I didn't take more showers. I didn't sweat more. Like nothing in my routine was different that would cause this rash. Then I started getting little bumps on my stomach. I never got the rash on my stomach, thank goodness. But I did get like tiny little bumps everywhere. And the more I scratch, more little bumps would come out, which makes sense. And oh my God, I'm like itching thinking about it. And then it started getting like on the sides of my hips and like right around my groinal area. Groinal, is that a word? Groin area. And it freaked me out. So I called the doctor and he told me to come in the same day that I called him. Basically, I had already done my research, so I knew exactly what it was. It was PUPPP. Is it PUPPP? Yeah, PUPPP. It's pruritic, urticarial papules and plagues of pregnancy. Like that sounds terrible. So the acronym is PUPPP. I'll put the whole thing here for you because I can't pronounce it to save my life right now. I was doing research like why I was getting these rashes. I was putting in like 18 weeks pregnancy rash, and this PUPPP thing kept popping up, but it kept saying that it occurs most often during the last month of pregnancy and only rarely in the postpartum period. But I was only 18 weeks pregnant. I'm barely even finished through like my second trimester. So like, why did it hit me like that? So I went to the doctor and he looked at it and he said, you have PUPPP. And I said, thank you, because I already knew that. And I honestly went to just get some kind of medication for it because it was just getting so uncomfortable, so painful to deal with, especially after I showered. Like I dread showering because right after is when it would really, really itch, and it was so uncomfortable. I wanted to go in to get like an ointment or an antibiotic, something that was safe for the baby but also treated this crap that I was dealing with. And so he did. He prescribed me Lidex, I think it's called. I don't even have that. I think it's in my medicine cabinet. And it's just like an ointment, a topical ointment that you put on the itchy parts, and it's supposed to help. And I went home, tried it that day, and it did make a huge difference even just the next morning. I only put it under my arms the first night because I didn't know if it would make it worse or better, so I just wanted to test out those areas. So like it got better the next day. I didn't want to put it on my stomach because I don't know, I felt weird putting it directly near the baby, even though the doctor said it was completely safe for the baby. Underarm started to get better. That was the only time I used it. And then like 2 days later, when my stomach was still like bumpy and itchy, I finally applied it to my stomach, and the next day it was like nothing ever happened. It's like my stomach was smooth, it wasn't itchy anymore, and it's gone. Like I don't have the rashes anymore. Underarms doesn't itch like it did before. Now it's just like the normal amount of itching, and it just feels so much better. I don't know what that was and why I got it so early in my pregnancy. I hope to God it does not come back later in pregnancy because I don't know what I'll do. I think that was worse than dealing with nausea for 5 or 6 weeks. It was just like painful itching, and because you have a rash and like the little bumps, you don't want to itch and irritate it, but you had to itch it. Like there was no way I could just sit there and not itch my skin. That went away about 2 weeks ago, and I've been feeling normal. I've been feeling fine. I've only used the medication twice, you know, under my arms and then once on my belly, and that was it. I haven't used it since. but it is good to have in our medicine cabinet in case it does come back. I just didn't want to depend on it or expose the baby to it more than I needed to, so I've only used it twice, but it's made a difference and I feel a lot better. Whew. Okay, we have a few more symptoms, guys. We're almost done. Another thing that I've noticed are skin tags. I've heard about them from pregnant women, and I got it pretty early on. I think I got it like weeks, I want to say 14 to 16 is when I noticed them on my body. It started to be like on my boob, just like tiny skin tags. It wasn't like nasty or anything. I'm getting it on my neck, which is completely like normal and very common in pregnancy. Where else am I getting it? I think I have one like on the lowest part of my belly, but I think I accidentally scratched it off. Like they're so not, what's the word, like raised or huge or anything that's like bothersome or gross and distracting. But yeah, like I get them around my boobs. I think I had one on my nipple, again, TMI. I don't know if it's your hormones or just something going on in your body that produces more skin tags. A lot of people say it goes away. So that's what we're dealing with. There's really nothing you can do to prevent it. And they're not harmful to you or the baby, so it's just a pregnancy thing to me at this point. I've been getting dizziness a lot more lately, even if I'm just sitting there. I've noticed like when I'm working on my laptop at home, my vision starts to spin a little bit. Like the room doesn't spin, but like my eyes starts to do this like weird adjusting thing, like a camera focusing. It does that, and then I just get really lightheaded. Nothing triggers it, and it goes away within like 2 to 5 minutes. I think the longest was 5 minutes that I felt really dizzy. It doesn't help if you close your eyes. The room starts spinning if I close my eyes actually. You just kind of have to sit there and kind of wait it out, and it goes away eventually. But that's what I've been dealing with. Heartburn. Oh my gosh, the heartburn. Okay, I am a lover of spicy foods. Anyone who knows me will attest to that. I love spicy food. Any like meal that I'm eating, if I can add like a spice factor to it, I definitely do. Hot sauce, like chili peppers, crushed red pepper flakes, like anything that's spicy that can be added to my meal, I will definitely be consuming it. But you know, everyone warned me like you cannot have spicy food like you do when you're further along because the heartburn is gonna be crazy. And I was like, yeah, I know, but it's so hard not to eat the thing that you love most. Like spicy foods is what makes food good to me. This past week and a half, even last night, like, oh, the heartburn, especially when I lay down to go to bed. It's fine when I'm sitting up, it still hits me sometimes, but when you lay down, I don't know what it is. Like last night, I thought I was gonna throw up because it was so bad. It literally feels like someone is lighting a candle from like your chest up to your throat, like almost to the tip of where like your vocal cords are. It's like a fire. It doesn't just like burn. It's not just like irritated. It's like a burning fire feeling. And water doesn't really help. I've been like eating Tums a lot. I take like 2 or 3 Tums a day, which has been helping. But I think at this point, I just have to start cutting out spicy food, which is kind of heartbreaking to me. So yeah, I think that's something that I have to start making adjustment on. I drink tons of water. Like I always have water on me. This is a 16-ounce, I don't know what you call these things, like tumbler, water cup container thing. I drink about 5 or 6 of these a day, so I'm definitely getting enough water intake, but it's still just not helping with the heartburn because I just eat too much spicy food. So I think that's something I have to start slowly cutting out, unfortunately. It's like really painful. I didn't think it would get that bad, but it was like last night really scared me because it just felt like fire coming out of my throat. Ugh, it's terrible. And then the last thing, not a symptom, but I guess a pregnancy related thing, is obviously the baby kicking. I first felt the baby kicking at 18 weeks and it was so exciting. As soon as I turned 18 weeks, everything that I read said that like you might be feeling your baby kick in the next few weeks. Don't worry if you don't because it's still early, but it's gonna feel like fluttering, it's gonna feel like butterflies, and it's exactly what it felt like. His first kick, I can remember it so vividly. It was right in the middle, like lower bottom half of my belly, and it just felt like something like soft hit me from inside, and it just felt so like unreal. It was crazy. I just had like the biggest smile on my face when I realized it was the baby. And then sometimes, I don't know if it's the way he moves, but it does feel like fluttering. It feels like butterflies. It never felt like bubbles popping for me, like some people describe it as like bubbles popping in your stomach. To me, it felt more like something soft punching you, which makes sense, or like butterflies. Like, you know, like when you go down a roller coaster or a hill and you get that like whoosh butterfly nervousness feeling in your stomach. That's what it felt like. And to this day, sometimes when he rolls, I still get the butterfly feelings, but now it's definitely more pronounced that he's kicking or punching me. This kid is moving, this kid is active. So that was really exciting. So the first kick was 18 weeks, and then the following, exactly 7 days later, my husband felt the kick from outside for the very first time. So at 19 weeks, we were able to feel the kick from outside, like he felt a bump, and I posted it to my Instagram, and that was just so, I'm so glad I whipped out my camera for that, because I caught his like very first reaction to the baby kicking, and it was just so funny. But yeah, so he's been kicking a lot, he's moving a lot. I feel like a limb or a shoulder or a knee or his butt like at various times throughout the day. Like right now, I think his butt is up in the air or something. But yeah, it's just been so fun. So those are all the pregnancy symptoms, experiences that I had in the first half of my pregnancy. Another half of the pregnancy to go, but I'm just so excited to just experience everything that this second half is gonna bring. And so far, I've loved being pregnant, even with the nausea, even with the rash. Like, it never put me like in a bad mood. It's just my body reacting to the baby in me, and I've been looking forward to this pregnancy for so long. It's like, bring on all the symptoms. I don't even care. So weight gain, I started out this pregnancy I think at 125. So I turn a new week every Tuesday, so I weigh myself every Tuesday morning before I have anything to eat or drink. So I started out at 124, 125, and the last time I weighed myself, which was this previous Tuesday, I was 139, so about 140. So 140 minus 125, it's about 15 pounds. So I've gained about 15 pounds in the 20 weeks that I've been pregnant, and I think that's normal. I don't feel any bigger, like I don't feel heavier, I don't feel bigger, but obviously I look bigger, especially in pictures. I don't know why in pictures my face and my neck just like gains 10 pounds. It's so crazy. Maybe that's how I look in person and I just don't realize it, but in pictures it's a little uncomfortable to look at for myself. But otherwise, I feel great. I am in that like soft spot of pregnancy where everything is just comfortable and magical, and like baby is kicking and all these beautiful symptoms are happening, and it's just amazing. But I know in like 15 weeks, I'm gonna like get the hell out, kid. Like, I've had enough of this, because everyone says that. Everyone says the last few weeks are the most difficult, the most painful, the most uncomfortable. So I'm not really looking forward to that. So I'm gonna enjoy pregnancy as is right now. It's just amazing. We're still like, especially for me, I don't know about my husband, but to me, I'm still like in disbelief sometimes that I'm pregnant. It's just crazy. Like, there's a human in my stomach, and it's growing and it's kicking and it's listening to me and it's doing all these crazy things. So yeah, that is my little update and experience so far for the first half of my pregnancy. I'm probably gonna film my 21-week pregnancy update right now after this video, just so I can start doing the weekly updates. Just for myself, even if no one watches it, I at least can look back on these videos and remind myself how happy I was pregnant and how tiny he was, because I know like in a year I'm gonna look at him at like 6 months and be like, holy crap, you used to fit in my body. So yeah, that is it for this video, guys. If you have any questions about any of the symptoms that I talked about, or if you're around the same weeks that I am, let me know down in the comment section below. It's been so fun talking to you guys on Instagram, just like tips from moms that already have kids, tips from women who are a little bit further along than me, and just friends who are pregnant around the same time. It's been really fun chatting and talking and sharing tips. and just all these fun baby stuff. It's been amazing connecting with you guys on a whole nother like topic. Like, we all love makeup, but babies, it's just like a special spot for all of us. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.